Right. So we are back for our lovely coffee chat. I've got my ginger kombucha here. It's absolutely delicious. And yeah, it's a beautiful day over here. How is it with you, Brice?
Well, spring is always an interesting time of year down here in Georgia. We get a lot of tornadoes and all that kind of stuff this time of year. But the junctions of the seasons are interesting. It's always a very, I talk a lot about friction, and when the nature is taking its junction, there's always friction in the air. But it's beautiful outside today. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of our Irish friends out there. Funnily enough, they say there are more Irish people in America than there are in Ireland. And according to my DNA that I did before I knew it was bad, I have absolutely zero Irish in me, none whatsoever, which I was actually surprised about. But happy St. Patrick's Day to all of our Irish friends out there.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. They'll be celebrating that in style. It's a beautiful day in spring. The cats are all on the go. The wildlife's all on the go. It's a really, really lovely day today. So I'm feeling tip-topper. And we're going to be discussing some interesting stuff because you and I, we've been talking about so many different things for months and months now, and about really feeling ready to sort of move off. Not that it hasn't been a great experience, but take the focus off what's wrong and put it on what we can do positively. And certainly I've been really looking at where I'm going with my channel and moving forward. A lot of my focus, I'm still going to be having interesting conversations with all sorts of different people, but a lot of my focus is going to be how people can practically, at a practical level, set their lives up for success. So that's their physical body, their emotional body, their spiritual body, because obviously, you know, I know, and everyone knows, they all link together. And one of the interesting things came out of that when we were just chatting was about self-integrity, wasn't it, as a starting point?
Yeah, absolutely. Being integral to yourself. When I was actually, when we first started recording, I was thinking about, someone said once, and I thought it was brilliant. I'm going to paraphrase. We all have these dreams, these things that we want to do in our life. And so we have these fantasies about what we love. And I think we have these dreams for a reason. We're all different. We all have something we want to do, but we don't get from point A to point B like that. We have to take steps to get in between where we are now and where that dream is. And so every day, if you, like we were talking about, if you want to own an animal sanctuary, if you want to, have a rehabilitation center for humans, you're not going to go from being just an average person with a dream to then all of a sudden having that. There has to be steps taken in between to get you to that point. And so every day, making a conscious decision to do something. It doesn't have to be the big thing that changes everything, but something little to help you get to closer to that point. I heard someone say once, do something today that yourself tomorrow will thank you for.
That's such a good saying, and it's so important because we all go through different stages of our lives, and we're all going to have ups and downs and periods where, for example, on a physical level, I love the fact that Louise Hay sort of says, if you're going to spring clean your house, you've got to get around every room, but it doesn't matter what room you start in, unless you're having people over for dinner that night, and then you might want to start in the dining room. And that's a bit like, stuff. So we've got how's our physical body, and a physical body you can break down into lots of different exercise. Let's keep it simple: water, food and nutrition, and exercise. And then you've got your mental body. So what are you doing to keep yourself positive there? What are you doing to control your thoughts, emotions? And then you've got your spiritual side. There's so many different areas to this. And all of us will have a different starting point because we'll all have something that's a priority in our life. So like for me at the moment, I'm really good at, I love my Flasker energetic water bottles, and I'm really into, I have been for a long while, obviously, my herbs, my supplements, my really good food. I love cooking, water quality, etc. But what I've really let slip is my stretching. So I do a lot of walking and movement because that's absolutely crucial to me. I just really, really need that. And I've set my life up to that every day includes a lot of that. But what I haven't done, much to my daughter's annoyance, is the stretching. So everyone's got something. Whilst I'm assuming stretching isn't an issue for you, you're going to have different priorities.
Well, it's funny though, because when you do Ashtanga yoga, you realize how sore you get from stretching. I've been sore for like 15 years. That's how intense that can be. But it is so important. It's so funny because when we talk about doing things every day to get you to a certain point, I actually just had a conversation with someone. For 15 years now, I've been getting up at the crack of dawn and doing this crazy practice. And I was on the phone with my friend. We were talking about this group we're going to be working through. And I'm like, not once in those 15 years have I ever gotten up in the morning and thought, oh, yay, I get to go bust my ass on my, not once have I ever thought that, because that's what a discipline is. You do it because it serves you. And even though 4 o'clock in the morning, for me, I don't want to necessarily, you're tight. If in the early morning hours, your body's so tight, like it's not, there's more of a vulnerability. And for 15 years, it hasn't been pleasurable. I mean, I've enjoyed it at times, but it's because it's what sets me up for my day. Like anytime, and I think that's kind of the first step, regardless of whether it's getting up in the morning and taking a walk or meditating, or even something simple as making up your bed the first thing you get up. It will set your mind into a productive routine. And I think one of the things that I've noticed, and I think this is really big in the Western world, I know it's probably just a human trait anyway, but I see it more in the Western world. Oh, look at it.
Little Mitzi, sorry.
No, I love it. Is we have this idea that being uncomfortable is wrong. And being uncomfortable is where magic happens.
Yeah. And it's part of life, isn't it, Brice?
Yeah.
It's part of life. And I think you said something so important there about do something today that your tomorrow will thank you for. And that is so important, because a lot of us, and I know every single person's situation is different. It's little Mitzi. A lot of us are lucky enough to have a lot of choices in the people, you know, just anyone who's got a chance to sit down and watch videos like this is normally in a pretty good place in their life, in terms of compared to a lot of people globally where they're very much in survival mode. And consistency is really key. And there's a lot of talk about self-love, but I find it really fascinating. And my dad always used to say this to me, you know, when he was growing up, they didn't give their kid, you know, they didn't have crisps and sweets, and they had a few, but you know, it was, everything was rationed, and if you were good, you got an orange or an apple. And now we've got into a culture that we give our children a really sugary sweet or drink as a treat. And it's like, again, anyone who's watching this knows that the whole world is upside down. We've been tricked into really doing all sorts of things that are really bad for us physically and mentally. But when you think just about that, why do we give our most precious, precious beings in the whole world, our children, something that's really bad for their health and call it a treat?
Right. That actually drives me crazy. And maybe just being, you know, being born in the early 80s, like I thought, I always laugh and say I was born into the jazzercise, low-fat diet age. I remember my mother doing Richard Simmons, like the, you know, jazzercise stuff. And we've got, and as I've gotten older, it's like, we treat these things as treats or punishment. And before we were filming, Catherine, you said something that I actually think as well, like every day of my life is a good day. I've set myself up to not just look, you know, that song, everybody's working for the weekend. Well, that's a pretty sad life. If Monday through Friday you're miserable and you got 2 days a week that you're actually looking forward to, then that's kind of a shit life, in my opinion. And so you have that power, though. That's the plot twist, is that you have the power to control to set up your life in the way that you want to move forward with your life. And that's how my life is. Like, I enjoy every single day, I enjoy it. And it's because every day I'm happy, you know, because I've set it up that way. And it's taken a long time. It's taken many years to get to that point. You know, getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning in India was not fun, but I'm at that point now where I've had all this experiences to bring me here. And so when we have to be uncomfortable, we have to embrace being uncomfortable in order to change. And a lot of people, you know, they want to have the specific life, but they're not willing to take those steps to get there. And that's your superpower, is when you can actually put yourself through those steps to create that life that you want to live. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes massive sense. And I'm in exactly the same. So my whole life, I'm just hold on to things because my internet connection cable's so dodgy here. Oh no, Mitzi, darling. Okay. We'll be cut off again. Brice and I have been cut off from many a video. I need to get a better plugged in connection for my computer that's not so fragile. But so classic example, my whole life, I've had a lot of criticism for everyone saying, oh, because you've got so many animals, you can't be spontaneous and just disappear off whenever you want to. And I'm like, no, I can't. But the gift of what the animals give me, such brilliant physical health, rain or shine, snow, wind, all of the family members. I mean, my children are the fittest children ever, because right since they've been born, had movement, and being out in nature has been a huge part of their life. So don't get me wrong. Again, there are times when I'm like, oh, it's really cold and windy and wet and I don't want to get up and do them. But the benefits, there's always a sort of payoff, the benefits of what I get from sharing my life with the animals. But equally, what I think is really important, the message I want to get across today, when we're talking about self-integrity, the first step to me is recognizing what you're happy with and what you want to change, not judging yourself, because, you know, the whole point is we learn by our mistakes. As you and I said, you know, 20 years ago, we weren't in the situation we're in now. I've now got 2 grown-up children that can get around themselves and can drive and are working and or studying or whatever. So I'm not in the same place as I was when I had 2 toddlers, when my life had different pros and cons to it. So I think being really gentle to yourself, but having targets of or goals or whatever you want to call it is so important. So, okay, this is where I'm at now, and recognizing it. It's like if you've got a drink problem, there's no point in your family trying to send you along to get help. You've got to accept that you've got a drink problem. And if you accept that, so being really honest with ourselves and accepting what areas of my life do I want to improve on, and then having fun setting in place things, because we're not going to be able to do it all at once, but wouldn't it be boring if we could?
Yeah, it would be. It would be. And I mean, so like I'm the only female in the state of Georgia that's authorized to teach what I teach. And to me, that's a really big accomplishment that I made for myself. And I remember when the possibility of that coming, it overwhelmed me when I realized that. And the possibility of going back and forth. And of course, when we think about the big picture of what we're working towards, and if we just cling to that, it can be. So that being self-gentle. And I remember thinking, okay, I just need to take this one day at a time while I'm here in India, one practice at a time. If it happens, it happens. And then it happened. And I think if I had focused on that, I would have self-sabotaged in a sense where it wouldn't have happened. And I do think that being gentle with yourself and really breathing through things and allowing things to come that you've worked for, you know, it's not that things just fall in your lap because they do. No, you usually have worked your life, you've worked for something. And therefore you need to be gentle with yourself instead of like self-sab, which is something I think a lot of people do is I know I'm guilty of that from time to time, to self-sabotage. And yeah, and different phases of your life are going to offer you different things. I mean, I think we've talked about this, Catherine. I never want to go back to my 20s.
No.
Hell no, I don't want to go back to my 20s. I'm glad I had fun. I lived in Los Angeles. I went to the Viper Room almost every night. I had a lot of fun, but those days are over, and that was a different time. And so, yeah, it is going to, so you, and I also heard someone say this too, don't ever compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10.
Yes. That's really important, because, you know, I have been quite a competitive person, and it's really great when you then have fun doing something that you've got no expectation you're going to be good at. So I think I've mentioned before, my neighbor and I, who's hysterical, we decided we were going to do this thing called Couch to 5K, which is building yourself up to running 5K. Now, to most people can run 5K, but I've just never been a runner. I just don't enjoy running. But I thought I've got to do myself a challenge, so I'll do that. But it was such fun doing it, because I never was trying to be a good runner. You know, I can walk for miles, I ride my horse, I love sprinting, I can jump over things, but long distance running, my husband and my children can just run forever and they're amazing, but it's not me. But I still enjoyed the challenge. And actually, it was really funny to me doing something, and I know it's a tiny challenge, but it was a fun challenge. But doing a challenge where you've got no pressure on yourself to be good at it, I recommend to anyone, because I used to be a gymnast. So when I start my stretching, if I can't get into all the positions that I used to be able to when I was 14, I've got a judgment there about myself, even though I know it's ridiculous because that was 40 years ago. But with the running, I just enjoyed it because I had no pressure on myself at all, and no one else did. And the children were like, oh, well done, Mum. And even though my time was hysterically slow, because I'd actually kept going, they were like, oh, well done. You know, that's really good. But not in a condescending way, just they were having as much fun with it, laughing with me, not at me.
And that is such an important lesson, the dropping of expectation, because we will always put more expectation on ourselves than anybody else will. And it's fun. I was telling a class on Sunday, I was talking about soreness in the body and how even if you're sore, you still have to practice. And I told the story. There was this one time I was in Philadelphia. I used to fly up to Philadelphia to practice with my teacher, David Greek. And in Philadelphia, of course, all the buildings are really old. So his studio was like, Shala was way up on like the 3rd floor. And these old buildings have very steep, narrow stairs. And it was the last day that I was there with him for this time period before I flew back to Atlanta. And I remember standing at the bottom of the stairs and my body was so effing sore. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get up the stairs. Like, it was literally like, I don't know. And then I got up there and I started, it ended up being one of the best practices I ever had because I didn't have any expectations. I had no expectations of what was going to happen that day on the mat because I was sore. And so that is such a good lesson, because when you drop those expectations, when you take the ego out of it, magic happens, joy happens. And another thing people say is comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, it really is. It so is. And everyone can do something. So, you know, I'd like to set everyone a challenge, and we're going to be talking about this lots more, because the great thing is, isn't it brilliant that there's not a single person that's watching this, I can't imagine this would ever happen, that hasn't got something they'd like to change or improve or you know, try something new. And we're all going to have different things, but all of us will have similar but you know, benefits. So for example, when we were speaking to Shanti about the meditation, literally you can start with 3 minutes.
Yeah,
you can literally start with 3 minutes. And even if you've got a newborn baby or you've got whatever your situation is, everyone can find 3 minutes, even if it's when you're sitting on the toilet.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So well, that's what I said. Like, if you're looking for something to like jumpstart a new change, and you're not someone who makes your bed up, just start making your bed up for a week and see what it does to you. Yeah, you know, get up an hour early and just go walk around the block. You don't have to do something super crazy to, you know, just to try drinking. If you're not a water drinker, try drinking a liter of water a day, see what happens.
Yeah,
you know, it's there's so many little things you can do, and those little things, they add up. You know, it's like back before cell phones, we had our telephone books, you know, and the papers and telephone books were like Bible paper. They were really thin. You know, and if one paper alone looks like nothing, but if every day or every week you added another little thing you did, by the end of the year, look how big of a change that is that you should see in your life. That whole telephone book adds up, you know. And so, and this is the world. I believe this is the world we're walking into. We can't sit around and wait for somebody to do something for us. You know, you can't.
You can frustrated and all that wasted energy. Of course, you're going to feel all the emotions. We're not saying shut down your emotions, but it's don't stay that. Concentrate. And okay, I'm going to think about me and my family and my life for now. What do I want to do? Should we set everyone, just like your love challenge, which is going around to everyone? I really love that. Should we set everyone who's listening, anyone who's drawn to set yourself one change that you're going to implement and you're going to stick to for the next 30 days?
Oh, I love that.
Put it in the comments below. And we do not mind at all, and I hope you don't mind at all, how big or small that change is. It literally can be the first thing I'm going to do when I get up in the morning is have a glass of water instead of coffee, or it could be something really amazing, like you're going to train for a marathon or something. It doesn't matter what it is.
I'll give you something I started this week that I just started, and that's oil pulling. I did a show with Shanti about the Ayurvedic, and I've always done tongue scraping, but I never done oil pulling, even though my best friend's an oil puller. And after I did that show with Shanti, I was like, I'm going to try this. And so I've been oil pulling every morning. It's just an extra 10 minutes out of my morning, but it's actually made me feel a lot better because it pulls the oil from the digestive system out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with oil pulling, but
it's something I've wanted for ages. So is that on one of your videos telling us how to do that?
On the solutions, it's just basically you get coconut oil or avocado oil, and you swish it first thing when you wake up before you've had anything to eat or drink. You swish the oil around your mouth. Don't swallow it. I think you can start at 10 minutes. You can build up to 20 minutes, and then you spit the oil out. Then you brush your teeth. What the oil does when you sleep at night, all of the bacteria in your body comes up through your mouth. And so, but the oil does, especially fatty oil like coconut oil, is it will pull toxins out of your mouth, and then you spit it out. And so it starts, and I've noticed a huge difference in the way that my whole not just your oral health, because I was always very, very high, very clean, but just the way that my whole, it whitens your teeth. It's supposed to help with headaches. If you drink a lot at night, it's supposed to allegedly help with help with hangovers, because
and how much do you use? How much oil do you put in? Because I'm going to start this. This is going to be mine as well.
A tablespoon is basically what you hold on one second, guys. I ordered it specifically from an Ayurvedic shop. Let me get it. Hold on one second.
And while she's doing that, this is a really good idea, because this is something I've been thinking about doing for ages, because I absolutely love, I'm going to tell you in a minute the other things I use coconut oil for, but I'm going to try this because this is something I've wanted to do for ages. And I say, and I'm not being vain here saying it, but everyone who says I'm 54, and everyone says I've got quite good skin for a 54-year-old, considering I'm out in the wind and the rain all day, but all I cleanse my face with is coconut oil. So I just use normal coconut oil, so rub it in, even for an eye makeup remover, and wipe it off with a hot flannel and everything. And I tell you what, one, there's no nasty chemicals in it. It's way cheaper than buying some expensive face cream, and it makes your skin feel amazing. Apart from the cats do like licking you afterwards. So.
Well, I ordered this. It's called Guru Nanda, and you can find that lights. Let me actually turn my off light for a second. You can see this is from an Ayurvedic shop here in the United States. Now you can find Ayurvedic shops anywhere. If you just Google oil pulling, from any country you're in, just Google oil pulling. And I got this specifically. Now you don't have to get something fancy. You can just use coconut oil or avocado oil, whatever, because it is a very weird sensation, because you don't want to swallow it, because if you swallow it, you're swallowing all of your toxins. So you want to keep it in your mouth. But so I fill it up. It comes with a little cap to 10 milliliters, which is just right here. So it's a very little bit. It will get bigger in your mouth as it starts to pull out all that bacteria. But yeah, it's natural teeth white. It whitens your teeth. It's literally, guys, like, this is something that I just started doing this week.
I'm going to start. I've got the solid coconut oil, but that's great because the solid coconut oil is refracting. It would soon melt in my mouth anyway.
And you can put I put coconut oil in my hair from time to time. It makes it soft. And it's literally like, if I were you guys, I didn't do this. I probably should have done this. Take a picture of your teeth, and then 30 days later, take a picture of your teeth.
Yes.
So you can see the difference.
Right. And I'm going to do that. So that's mine as well, because I had a couple of things about, but that's really, really good. I am actually going to be starting next week. I'm taking quite a few days off, actually, and got some trips planned with my daughter and some stuff with you, Mitzi. She's sitting here, right here, everyone. She's so cute. She's doing really well. And then when I get back the following week, I'm going to be starting my sort of series of, talking about a lot of these things. And morning routines is so important, isn't it, Brice? Morning routine.
Oh, yeah. The mornings I don't do my full morning routine, I feel like I'm lost all day. I feel cranky, and it's the morning routine. I was telling Catherine, I cleaned my bathroom at 5 o'clock this morning before I started. So did I. That was what was so funny. So did I. It was hysterical. So the morning time's the best time. It's the quiet time, and that might be something for someone too. If you're not used to getting up early. In the Ayurvedic system, from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. is the Vata time of day. It's actually easier to wake up between 2 and 6 than after 6, because that's Kapha time of day. And it's so quiet. They call it the time of God. It's Brahma Muhurta. It's the time of God. It's so quiet in the world that it's amazing the peace you have when you're doing something at that time, because everything else is just so, I know runners, of course, here in Georgia, people in the summertime, especially, people have to get up super early to run because it's too hot otherwise. And they talk about that here, that at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, running down the streets of Atlanta, and it's just quiet. It's just so quiet. No one's up, and it's just you and God and your breath and your heart beating. And it's just such a very special, magical time. And so that might be a challenge for people watching too. Get up an hour earlier.
Or go to bed an hour earlier, which is another brilliant habit to get in. So that, I mean, there's so many different things. Have a celery juice, gratitude journal, meditation, go back to some of our meditation videos, manifesting, start to do some manifesting on doing things. There's so many things. It can be absolutely anything. It can be groom your dog or your cat consistently every day for a month or something like that. It doesn't matter what it is, but can you, anyone who's happy to share, please share below, because you'll inspire other people as well, and you can let us know how you're getting on, and then we will, because we can just remind everyone how it's going with us and asking everyone else from the next few weeks. I'm really excited about that. That's great. I
know, we can take pictures oil pulling together.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that is so funny. Yeah. Oh my goodness, brilliant. So anything else that you want to leave us with?
Well, you know, and we were talking about exercising and your animals. What the veterinarian in India that helps us with our dog rescue, he has a sign in his clinic that says, if you're overweight, it means your dog isn't getting enough exercise. So that, I love that sign. So if that is one of your changes, might just be extra, spend time with your dog, or, you know, out walking it, and you know, make that a real big thing. Your dog will appreciate it. You'll love that time and that fresh air with your animals. So that could be something too. So yeah, whatever you want to do.
That it's so true. And you know, so pick something today. Don't wait till tomorrow, because that us humans are very good at that. One thing today, write it down somewhere. Really important to write it down somewhere, whether it's a post-it note, a note on your phone, you know, whatever it is, because when you write it down, you're making a commitment to yourself, and you'll remember what it is. And have fun doing it, because each time you're doing it, remind yourself that your tomorrow's body or mind or person will thank you for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will be seeing Brice again soon, because we're just about to chat to the amazing Turn the Page with Janine.
Yep, absolutely. Bye guys.